today. So a little bit about us before I hand the mic over to Rachel. QGive is an online fundraising platform, and we provide digital fundraising services and tools to over 6,500 nonprofits throughout the United States and Canada. We offer donation forms, event registration forms, auction tools and management, and so much more. QGive recently joined forces with Bloomerang to provide an all-in-one giving platform that puts relationships at the heart of your fundraising. So if you're curious about what that looks like or you want to learn more, I encourage you to head to the QGive website. So with all of that out of the way, I am thrilled to turn the mic over to Rachel so she can get going on all things major gifts today.
Yay! Yay! Welcome, everybody. We are so excited to have you with us. I love major gift fundraising. So I want to be chatting you guys up. So I'm going to kick things off. And by the way, I'm here with my dog Max. He doesn't bark, so he is allowed to go to webinars. I also have a really cute cat who's asleep. I won't bother her. But she's asleep on my desk. So write fur baby if you love animals as much as I do in the chat. But I want to get things started and ask you guys a question. My background's in fundraising. I spent my whole career in fundraising. I absolutely love fundraising. I really love major gift fundraising. It is the only um it it's the perfect job for a hopeless romantic because you get to find out what is important and meaningful to your donors and learn, just dig through all the deep layers and peel back the onion and learn their most highest aspirations and best versions of themselves. And then you get to bring them opportunities to yay, lots of people who love fur babies. You get to bring them opportunities to change the world and make it a better place. And I absolutely love it. I have 17-year-old twins, and you can learn more about me at rachelmuir.com. I actually have a pretty awesome download that I'm going to pop into the chat with lots of great advice on getting the visit and nailing the ask, which is super helpful. Yay, rescues, both Max and my cat. All my animals are rescues. So let's hear it for the rescues. I train people to be better at their fundraising, and you can learn more about me, as I said, at rachelmuir.com. So I'm going to invite you to type into the chat and tell me, oh, Zach has twins too. Yay. Okay, so type into the chat and tell me how major gift fundraising is different than other kinds of fundraising. There's one thing that major gift fundraising doesn't have that every other type of fundraising has. This is kind of like a next level question. So if you've got an idea of what makes major gift fundraising different, type it in to the chat. Doug said it's about relationship building to the max. Absolutely, 100%. Joe said it's the long game. Amanda says it's one-on-one. It's non-transactional. I love that, Christine. I absolutely love that. Travis says recurring versus one time. Dawn said individualized. These are oh, I love what Adriana said. It touches deep into a philanthropist's heart. These are awesome answers. But the one thing that makes major gift fundraising different than all other kinds of fundraising is it has no deadlines. And I think that is a really big part of why major gift fundraising is challenging. If you think about it, grants have deadlines, your campaigns have deadlines, Giving Tuesday's got a deadline, Giving Days have a deadline, end of year is loaded with deadlines, everything, events full of deadlines. Everything else has a deadline. And I think this makes it hard in major gift fundraising because it's all up to you. You have to be a very organized, very disciplined, and very self-motivated person to be successful in major gift fundraising. So we're going to talk about what major gifts are and how to get them, how to build and prioritize a portfolio. I'm going to share some strategies and tools to get your foot in the door. And surprise, surprise, I just shared how major gift fundraising is different than any other type of fundraising. So I want to invite you to type into the chat and tell me um, how your organization, what dollar amount do you at your nonprofit define as a major gift? You're going to type in and tell me what dollar amount do you define as a major gift at your organization? Okay, 5,000, 1,000, 1,500, 3,000, 15K, 20K. I love this. This is super, super awesome. Lots of people 1K. Diane is 25,000, Michelle's 10,000, Andy's 10,000, Heather's 25,000. Trish said 1K, believe it or not. I believe it. I totally believe it. I'm believing you, my fundraising friend. So most people 1K, but we've definitely got Camille is at 50K. And Vanessa's at 50K. And Doug said any amount. Travis said not identified. So I'm going to talk a little bit about annual giving versus major gifts and like how they're different. You can think about annual giving as like your end of year campaign, your Giving Tuesday campaign, any campaign, appeal, direct mail, email that you're sending out the door. It's a quick decision. It's given out of income. It's a cash gift. You ask frequently. You're going to ask several times a year. A major gift is the donor gets a very visceral joy in making the gift. It requires a personal visit. Not to say that you can't randomly get major gifts in the mail. You certainly could. But it is from a donor in your portfolio. The gift comes through a face-to-face ask, may take most likely it's going to take a couple visits to do the solicitation. It's given out of assets. Your donor might sleep on it. Their partner should be included if they and their partner make giving decisions together. And how do you like to make giving decisions in your family is a beautiful question to ask. And this is an interesting question from Oscar. So Wendy and I would love for you, beautiful friends, to ask your questions in the Q&A box, just so we can make sure that we don't overlook anything. But I'll go ahead and answer this for you, Oscar. Oscar asked, is there some guidance or best practice on a percentage of overall revenue? No, but let me tell you a few things. When you add, most giving is by individuals. The lion's share of philanthropy, if you look up the latest stats from Giving USA, most giving is from individuals. When you add in individual giving and you add in planned gifts, meaning donors naming you in their will or estate, 80% roughly of giving is from individuals. So if you are an organization that is raising all of their money through grants, you could be really missing out. If conversely, if you're an organization that's doing most of their fundraising through events, you are also missing out because you may have a ton of donors who would gladly just give you a major gift instead of you renting a facility, hiring a band, paying for a chicken dinner. We're getting all those silent and live auction items. You could selling all those tables, you could instead solicit a major gift. So there isn't a best practice as a percentage of overall revenue that you have coming into your organization, but keep in mind that all 80% of all giving is from individuals. So hopefully most of your income is from individual giving. And I also hope, speaking of that you've got a line item in your budget for individual giving and you've got a line item for board giving so that your board is crystal clear on how their fundraising is going based on their goal. So this is a little bit of the ROI of fundraising strategies. Direct mail acquisition, meaning I am doing an acquisitional campaign to a cold file and trying to get these people to donate money who aren't already on my list. That's the most expensive by far. Events is the next most expensive because you will spend 50 cents for every dollar that you raise. So it's very expensive to do events, and to do events right, you really are limited in the amount of events that you can do a year. Um, so Joan asked, are individual gifts annual, major, individual, and planned? Um, so this is a great question. Um, Individual gifts are gifts that are made from an individual. And it is, everyone has a different budget, and they have different, they choose to organize things differently. In your budget, you may have a line item for event income, and that includes all things related to your event income. You likely have a line item if you are doing planned giving, meaning you are encouraging donors to name you in their will or estate. You likely have a line item for like pledged and unrealized income from planned gifts. So, so I hope that is helpful to you. Um, I'm gonna keep going. Keep these questions coming. I love someone asked, do I know how you can send information to Oprah? I was on Oprah. Fun fact about Rachel, I was on Oprah, and back then it was when Oprah had her show, and you could like she had this awards that she gave, the Use Your Life Awards, and you could nominate people, and a family friend nominated me, and that's how I ended up on Oprah. You can Google how do I reach Oprah, but you could try to contact her producers. I don't have her personal number or anything like that. But I did get to hug her, so that was exciting. Oh, yay. Jean likes Oscar's question. Yes, and I'm glad I answered it since you like that question. So this is the takeaway here for you, my fundraising friends, is major gifts, and we're not talking about monthly giving, but monthly giving is very, very cost effective, very lucrative. Wendy and I are big fans of monthly giving, but we're talking about major gift fundraising, which has amazing ROI, fantastic ROI. The longer you have a great major gift officer or development director who's building strong, loyal, deep personal relationships with your donors, the better your ROI on your major gift fundraising is. So that's just kind of an overview of no fundraising is free. Kittens are not free. Puppies aren't free. Everyone in here with a fur baby knows that. In addition to the actual cost of all of this, all these strategies, you have the opportunity cost, right? If special events takes a ton of staff time, and that staff time that you're not able to spend on other things. So just a little ROI fundraising strategies, major gift fundraising, very, very lucrative. Okay. Um, so I already answered this question. What makes major gift fundraising different than any other kinds of fundraising? I've got a link in here. I do a training. You can check it out if you want. We just finished a workshop on using AI in your fundraising. And next month, we're going to be doing a workshop on epic fundraising examples. So it takes practice. It takes organization, it takes rigor, it takes discipline, it takes self-motivation. And I'm going to talk to you about some of those things and how you can put those in place to be successful with major gift fundraising. So your job is to get, this is from the, like, I really consider Jerry Panas to be like the grandfather of fundraising. The late Jerry Panas, he wrote the book on fundraising. It's called Asking, and it's a short read and it's a very easy read. And if you don't have it, I encourage you to get it. I'm gonna also pop a link in here. This is where you can get today's handouts, but Wendy's gonna send them out after this webinar as well to everyone who registered. So the largest gift possible in the shortest amount of time possible to the greatest joy of the donor. And the greatest joy of the donor means that you are learning about what that person's values and aspirations are, and you are bringing them opportunities to make that happen through giving to your organization. Your major gift fundraising is the heart of it is building relationships, and building relationships is not optional in fundraising. It is not optional in major gift fundraising. It is the actual definition of what fundraising is. So this is how, if you go to a fundraising conference, and type me into the chat if you are headed to AFP Icon. In Toronto, coming up really, really soon, like in a week and a half. If you're headed there, type me into the chat. Yay, Kimberly and Libby. I'm going to we have so much great stuff going on at our booth, and we're having like this whole Ask the Experts at the Bloomerang booth. So I'm gonna when we have a break in here, I will pop the link in here where you can RSVP and see all the awesome stuff that's happening in the booth. Okay, so you see this beautiful isosceles triangle at fundraising conferences, and we see this and we might think, oh, that's what fundraising looks like. This is what my file might look like. It doesn't look like this in real life. It doesn't look like this perfect isosceles triangle of like annual gifts and mid-level gifts and major gifts. And sometimes you might see a little cherry on the top of major gifts of planned gifts. It doesn't look like that at all. Most people's files look like a sombrero instead of a triangle. And where you have a lot of people giving small amounts and a few people giving large amounts. And the truth is, you likely have many more people in your file. Every single person that's on this call has likely your file looks like a sombrero, and likely there are beautiful, beautiful people at the widest brim of that sombrero who would gladly give major gifts to you, but it's up to you to deepen a relationship with them in order to get those. So I'm going to walk you through some strategies to do that. More than, and just to set some context, 80% of $1 million plus Harvard donors started with a gift of less than $500. We don't get married on the first date. This is why you have our giving looks like a sombrero and not an isosceles triangle, because people don't start with a major gift. They start with a smaller gift. And the more you show them the impact of their gift and get to know them and what they're passionate about, the more loyal they're going to be and the more they're going to upgrade their giving. So we have to, and I was just thinking about packing for AFP Icon and NATO, doing a quick stop in Denver on the way to AFP Icon in Toronto. Not really, it's not on the way at all. But I was just thinking about packing this morning. And I want you, when you think about major gift fundraising, I want you to think about packing up for the donor journey. Yay, Jenny. I hope that to see you in my session on fund stewardship ideas. Relationships are only as strong. They're a chain of activities, and they're only as strong as your weakest link. So if you've got a great acquisitional campaign, but you're not doing good stewardship after those new donors make a gift, you're not going to keep them. So every link in your chain, your welcome process, your stewardship, your relationship building, your cultivation, all of those need to be airtight. It's like packing for a trip and forgetting your toothbrush and your toothpaste, or your socks and your shoes. Like, all of it matters. Oh, Jenny, you're my favorite. You're so sweet. Okay, so a donor portfolio is how you manage all of your major gift donors. So I want to invite you right now to type into the chat and tell me if you have, so let me finish my sentence, my two sentences here, my task. If you have a donor portfolio, I want you to type the number of donors, major gift donors you have in your portfolio into the chat. So maybe you're an executive director and you've got 25 donors in your donor portfolio. Maybe you are a major gift officer and you have awesome. I love it. So Shannon, yay. Shannon has 140. April has 50. She's building it to 100. I've got a lot of folks with smaller. Danielle's just starting. That's fine. Yay. Cindy Lopez has 25. Marcy has 50. Jenny has 30. Vanessa has 80. Leash, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name correctly. Lucia has 100. Okay, Lori's new. She doesn't know yet. Almost 100. I love this. Okay, Jessica has 700. Jessica, that's a lot. Okay, that is a lot. 700. Here's why that's a lot. You can't manage visiting 700 people in like a year. You may not know, and type me into the chat if your organization is doing mid-level giving. You have a mid-level program. Um, Okay, Morgan and Taylor, good for you. And Shannon and Mary. And okay, perfect. And Selena and Pat. Okay, lots of you have a mid-level. Mid-level donors are like in between an annual fund donor and a major gift donor. Some organizations, so for all of you who defined a major gift as $5,000, anyone who's giving 1,000 to just under 5,000 could be a mid-level donor at your organization. Mid-level donors get some great stewardship and some great thoughtfulness and cultivation, but they may not get a face-to-face ask. Or they may. I've worked with mid-level gift officers who were road warriors and they were out there doing like 5 visits a day with their mid-level donors again it's just underneath your major gift donors, and those are, you could include your recurring donors in a mid-level giving portfolio. So that's just for you to think about. So 700, I'm glad that only one person put in a number amount for a donor portfolio that isn't really feasible, because I love that you guys all have realistic numbers. But so for my friend who has 700 in their portfolio, you might be thinking, oh, that's all the donors I have in my database. Or if it's really all the people you have in your portfolio and you're trying to visit with all those people, you might think about how you might prioritize that. And I'm going to give you some tips and tools to do that. But this is the definition of a donor portfolio. These are people who want to have a deeper relationship with you and will respond to that by being loyal and upgrading their giving. And you're going to have an ask goal in your portfolio. I'm going to make an ask of Wendy in June. I need to know that I'm doing that in June so I can tee up March, April, and May to get her ready for that ask. So that's just a helping you understand what a portfolio is. I am a big fan of having ask goals for your donors, meaning if Wendy's in my portfolio and she's been giving $5,000 for the past 3 years, I'm going to set a goal, and she always does that in June. I'm going to set a goal that I'm going to get her to give. I mean, maybe my personal goal is 10,000, but I'm going to put 7,500 in my budget because I don't want there's my aspirations and then there's what I want my boss to put in their budget. Or maybe I just put 5,000 in the budget, but I'm going to ask her for more, and I'm going to do that based on her interest and challenging her to bigger and better projects that speak to her interests. So this, I talked earlier about how there is no deadline for major gift fundraising. And that is why you have to set an ask goal. You got to know when you're going to ask your donors and how much you are going to ask them for. And I'm going to show you like just a simple, easy, this is just an Excel. This is kind of like this is a donor portfolio. You can think of it as like a strategic plan for your donors. Um, okay. Jenny says Jenny got an out of the blue $5,000 donation. She only has a physical address. She gave 7,000 the next year after she sent a personal letter. Last year she didn't give anything, even though I wrote it a few times. I don't want to bother her, but I don't know how else to reach her. Okay. So it's great that you have a physical address. Sounds like you don't have an email and you don't have a phone number. I would try to get a visit face to face with her. I would send her a letter and tell her you're going to be in her neighborhood and please give you a call back, tell you what time works best. Give her like 2 dates, okay? And ask, make it like 2 weeks into the future or a month into the future. I would be definitely trying to get, yeah, that's fine. Let's try a 2 hour drive is worth it for um, to set up a visit. I'm encouraging you to set up a visit. I'm not encouraging you to just show up at our house unannounced. I would be trying to set up a visit with that donor. Absolutely, 100%, 100%. And there's lots of, you can do like, you can do a Google search to try to find their phone number. You can try. I'm not saying it's going to be their phone number. Maybe you get a couple wrong numbers, but it's worth a shot. Okay. Michael asked a great question. Um, Yay. McKenna said something similar happened and they did a board thank you and they got a response from that. And it's good to consider mixing up who with the organization is contacting them. I love that answer, McKenna, and I love that you're helping your fellow fundraisers. So here's an example of just if I was managing a portfolio and fundraising with the cast of Charlie Brown, right? Of Peanuts. I've got a goal, I've got an actual. I've got some cultivation steps of what I'm doing. Okay, they're going to get a welcome call from the CO. They're going to get the puppy people are going to get a puppy love Valentine's card. The kitty cat people, peppermint patties into cats. She's not into dogs. She's going to get a kitten Valentine card. Then we're going to go in and do an ask. This is an ask that's based on their interest. So this is just a way to, for you to um, stay organized. This is just an Excel. This way, what your goal is and what your actual is to your goal. Um, you you can use there are platforms that you can use to find out more information about your donors. There are lots of different platforms that you can use. You could use like donor search or iWave to find out more about their giving behavior. Um, Gravity has a product called Raise that uses artificial intelligence and sits on top of your donor database. And it uses artificial intelligence to help you communicate with your donors. Not inexpensive, but I do think that is a really neat tool. Um, so those are some things that you can use. And if you are a Bloomerang customer, they integrate with donor search. So that can be something that you think about doing. Hope that has helped. It's called Raise, and it is a product of Gravity. I'm not sure I'm spelling that right. But it's expensive. It is expensive, but it's awesome. I love AI. Love it. Type me into the chat if you use AI to help you in your fundraising. Type me if you do it and um type yeah, so helpful, so helpful. I use AI in lots of different ways to save time and money. I don't use AI to write appeal letters. That would be like letting a pigeon drive the bus. If you remember that children's book by Mo Willems, you're going to love reading it to your newborn daughter, Wendy, when she gets older. It's one of the best. Okay, so here's some reasons. Thank you, Michael. Here are some reasons why you should have a portfolio. It gives you realistic revenue projections, so you know exactly how much you are going to raise. It also manages the expectations of those who may be in charge of your performance evaluation, such as your executive director, your CEO, or your board. So here's an example. Let's pretend like Zach and Sandra work together, and Zach works for Sandra. Sandra is the ED, and she is like a visionary. Of course, she is. And Zach has a really well organized donor portfolio. He knows when he's going to make his ask. He knows what those asks are for. Let's say Sandra comes in and says, "Oh my God, Zach, I have some exciting news for you. I need you to take what we're raising in major gifts and I need you to triple it because we just decided last night in a board meeting that we're going to build a natorium. We're going to build a whole swimming complex here at our Boys and Girls Club. So let's get with it." Zach can say, "Oh my goodness, Sandra, I love your enthusiasm and I love your vision. This is how much I'm going to raise this year based on our current major gift donors. And this includes some stretch goals for their giving. This won't total up to be 3 times as much as it is right now. What are other strategies that you and the board might pursue to reach the goal that you want?" Right? Totally respectful. Yeah, and Sandra's close to me. She's just down the street in San Antonio. So it's really important to, if you've got some idea fairies on your board, if you have a ED or a CEO who's got some rose tinted glasses, if you're just working with people with that don't have realistic fundraising expectations, your first job today, I hope you get off the phone. I hope you get off this call and put a, Excel spreadsheet will do just fine. But I hope you put together a portfolio so that you can stay organized. And for all of you with those smaller portfolios, it's going to be really easy to do. For everybody that's got like 25 people, easy peasy. It ensures your donors get love and attention. It ensures that no one falls through the cracks. It allows you to plan ahead for losses. Say you've got a donor that just sadly was diagnosed with dementia. That's someone you're going to take out of your portfolio, right? It's no longer ethical to cultivate and solicit them. So I'm going to talk about who should be in your portfolio. We're going to start by shopping in your own closet, my fundraising friends. As tempting as it is to fantasize about wealthy strangers who we don't know, I'm in Austin, Texas, so people love to fantasize about if Michael Dell just gave us $5 million to the Multicultural Refugee Center. It's beautiful to have that fantasy, but it's a waste of time when you look at his giving priorities personally and through his foundation and through the company. It's a waste of time and you don't have time to waste, right? So we're going to start with the donors that are already giving to us because they are your sombrero. They're the brim of your sombrero, and you've got a lot of them. So we're gonna pull the Jungle Book. This is my first movie that I saw in the theater. Mowgli, Baloo. Baloo was the cutest bear. Oh my goodness. Okay, so two bear necessities. Where are your best major gift prospects and who will respond to more cultivation? So this is like the bare necessities that you need. All donors are equal as human beings. And here's the link. I'll put this in the chat to get the handouts. All donors are equal as human beings. They are 100%, but they're not equal as revenue sources. Okay. Not every donor will respond to more love and attention from you by upgrading their giving. Let's pretend like I am at Sweaters for Penguins and Wendy is the development director and I'm the executive director. We may have donors that are just giving their friends or family of Wendy's and they just love Wendy and they just want to support those penguins friends getting cute little sweaters knitted because they love Wendy, and they're going to keep giving as long as Wendy works there, but they're not going to make a sacrificial or stretch gift because this isn't a priority for them. Okay, so it's up to you to figure out how you can prioritize your donors. So this is step one, my fundraising friends. Um, I love you, Anne Marie. Thank you for helping me organize the masses. Pull a list, pick a cumulative gift amount. So my friend in there with the 700 donors, you might pick a cumulative gift amount. If you have 700 donors in your major gift portfolio, you may be defining a major gift as too low an amount. Maybe you're defining it as $1,000, and maybe you should be thinking of defining it as 2,500. Conversely, for those of you who have really, really small, like if you said that you define a major gift as $25,000 and you only have five major gifts, then I think you should define it as a little bit lower, right? Because your goal here is to have this portfolio of these beautiful, amazing, generous donors, and you are going to cultivate them and love on them and challenge them to give more by bringing them opportunities to speak to their passion and interest. You can look at their trends in terms of have they been their gift size, their loyalty, are they upgrading? And of course, you can look at behavioral data. Are they opening your newsletter? Are they volunteering? Are they coming to events? This is in case you're wondering what this vintage photo of like people in a phone booth is. This is an example of like too many people in a phone booth. And I share this because, and this is based on research, you cannot manage professionally as a full-time major gift officer. There's not enough time in the day, days in the year to manage a portfolio of more than 150 donors because these are people you're having face-to-face visits with. And even being a great road warrior, if it takes 2 to 3 visits to do an ask, it's unrealistic that you're going to be able to manage like 700 people, for example. Okay, so I'm going to give you some advice on qualifying a donor. And qualifying a donor is what you would do to determine who should be in your portfolio, to build a portfolio, and also who should I maybe move out of my portfolio. If you're like my friend who has 700 people in her portfolio, these qualification strategies can help you move people out. So this is a pre-call letter. And so my friend who had and I love the idea from McKenna about how, and so does Max. He just wanted to wake up and tell you that. Way to go, McKenna. But the sending a letter to tell the donor, hey, I'm going to be in your area. I'd love to visit. This is the kind of letter that I want you to write. I want you to write a letter that tells the donor, thank you so much for your gift. You are doing a wonderful thing. We are so grateful to have you as part of our donor family. Every donor has a story of why they support our mission and why they care. And I just want to learn yours. I just want to understand more about you and your passions and your interests because I want to be telling you I want to be telling you at every opportunity how you're changing lives. I'm going to be in your area, blah, 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 this date and this date. Which is better for you to meet? Here's my phone number. Here's my email. Put a business card in there. So this is one example of a pre-call letter. This is perfect for that donor. You don't have an email address. You don't have a phone number. Send them a letter. This is another letter. I'm gonna let my cat say hi here. Oh, she's a big one. This is Hazel. Okay, she's going back to bed over there. Okay, so this is an actual one from my student, Joanne. She's a member of my League of Extraordinary Fundraisers. And this is a letter that she sent when she was new in her job at Bethlehem House to open up the door and get visits. This is during COVID. So I'd love to meet you in person, virtually, or over the phone. So, I mean, the beautiful thing about these all still work for us, right? Like COVID really opened up virtual visits with donors to the masses when not every donor may have done that before. But we've got a Calendly link in here. This is a really just, you're a vital part of our family. I'd love to meet you. I want to learn about what's important to you and why you so generously choose to support us. So again, this is reflecting back how incredibly generous and kind the donor is, because all of your communications are a mirror to your donor, and I want them to look gorgeous in that mirror. Brittany, if you send me an email, I can help you out. But also we do this a lot in our program in the League of Extraordinary Fundraisers. We do this a lot. So if you want some help with your fundraising, it's only $49 a month. Okay, so who to qualify? New donors, donors you don't know well, donors you think you can upgrade. These are some people that you would want to qualify. This is some prioritization tips. So that what you saw, the qualification letter, that's a pre-call letter. You're going to call and email them. This could easily take 7 to 10 tries. Okay. You're not going to try 10 times in one day. You're going to try like 10 times over the course of like several months, maybe 3 months, 6 months. This is the beauty of like having people in a portfolio. You can document this and you can see how they're responding. Also, I'm a big fan of video email, and I use BombBomb video email. Bloomerang has an awesome integration with Grativid video email, and I'm going to put the link in here. What's cool about video email is that if they opened your you can get a notification if they open your video email. So if your message is getting through, and that's huge, right? Like, I mean, type me into the chat if you would like to know if people are reading your emails. Like, you would like to know if your donor is reading it, right? I mean, you're not being creepy. It's helpful if they're not reading it, they're not getting it, right? Um, if they don't respond at all after that, and this is good advice for my friend who was in this kind of unique situation and got some great advice from McKenna on having a board member give it a shot. But if they don't respond, you can send them a non-responder letter with a survey in it. And that letter just says, hey, I've been trying to reach out to you. I just want to tell you the impact of your gifts. I just want to learn more about you and why you so generously choose us to support. I just want to tell you more about how your gifts are making a difference and make sure I'm meeting all your needs. I'm always here. Here's my card. Since I've reached out to you, several times and I haven't heard back, since I've sent you 5 letters and left 3 voicemails and sent 5 emails, I'm getting the message that you're not interested in replying. If I got that wrong, email me or call me right away. Um, or fill out this quick survey here so I can learn more about you. Okay, so that's it is Anne Marie. It is in the treasure chest. And then if they don't respond to that, a final note, just I'm always here for you. There's nothing more than I'd love to share to get to know you better. If anything changes and you're interested in visiting me, give me a ring. Okay, now I'm going to give you some tips to get your foot in the door. Okay, I love BombBomb video email. If you're a Bloomerang customer, sorry, Max just wanted to say hi again. If you're a Bloomerang customer, you can use Grativid, and the integration between Bloomerang and Grativid is mind-blowingly fantastic. You can set it to send video emails automatically when people make a gift to you. It's a game changer. If you don't have that, you can try BombBomb video email. I absolutely love it. I use it all the time, and you can set it to send you a notification when your donor opens your email. Okay, the invitation is the cultivation. You could invite them to all these awesome things. Even if they don't go, it's okay, because inviting them is part of cultivating them. And inviting them counts as cultivating them. And I'm going to give you some other examples of and strategies. This is some great stewardship touches. I'm going to give you some really great examples for cultivating donors and for qualifying donors. Type your questions into the chat. Do not worry, I'm going to be answering all of them 100%. So these are just some, if you hang out with me for more than 5 minutes, you know that I'm mildly obsessed with stewardship. So I've got a link in there to a download that you can get on don't 23 different ideas to shower your donors with love. You can comment on an article about them, call with a personal project update, invite them for a tour or a behind the scene event, just some ideas of touches. I just popped this link in the chat, 23 different ideas to cultivate your major gift donors. A donor thought circle is a really neat strategy that you can use. I learned about this strategy from Robbie Healy. And this is a really neat strategy that you can use. Again, the invitation is the cultivation. Even if they don't come to your donor thought circle, the fact that you invited them is awesome. So a donor thought circle is like a small, intimate group. Here's the recipe. It's in a controlled social setting, meaning maybe you have it in your conference room, maybe you have it in like a annex room at a restaurant. It's you have it someplace where you're not going to be bothered frequently, right? Maybe it's milk and cookies, maybe it's tea and crumpets, maybe it's wine and cheese, maybe it's coffee and donuts, but you're going to give them something to nosh on. You're going to read them 5 questions. You're going to let them, they're going to take some notes. Gradavid, yes, Gradavid is video email and it integrates with Bloomerang, Megan. Um, some people are going to be more dominant than others. So you want to know who those people are, and maybe those people go last. Um, and if someone doesn't want to answer, they don't have to answer. So this is kind of the recipe. This is again is from Robbie Healy, and I'm going to share the questions for this donor thought circle. So again, this is a neat way to one thing donors love is getting to meet other donors, like especially major gift donors. They really like that. So this is a neat way for them all to meet one another. This is an intimate kind of, maybe you invite 25 people with the goal of having like 10 to 15 there. But these are some questions. What connected you to us? What made you decide to become a donor? How can we encourage others to give to us? How can we make you feel more special and appreciated? What would make people feel more special and appreciated? And if you're thinking, man, Rachel has a typo right there because she asked the same question twice, this is strategic because people may not, maybe someone, let's just pretend that Susan, as a donor, wants her name on a building. She wants as much recognition as she can get. I'm making this up, Susan. Okay. But if that is Susan, she may not feel like saying that. And when you ask her what would make her feel more special and appreciated, she may not feel like, oh, I can just, well, having my name on the door because she's there with these other donors and they might think that she's like a, just obsessed with status. But when you get to number 5, that's when she can say, I think people would really be intrigued with naming opportunities. So if people don't answer 4 honestly about themselves, pay attention to number 5 because they'll answer number 5 honestly about themselves. Just shoot me an email, Marcy. If it doesn't work, just shoot me an email. Um, okay, we're going to talk about donor cultivation events, which are great. And it's a great opportunity for you to qualify donors. And if you do these right, you can invite, you can easily have 10, 15, 20 people. And I'm almost at the end. I'm going to answer all these gorgeous questions. But just consider a donor cultivation event. Whatever thing that you're doing with your target beneficiaries, How can you make that fun and invite donors to come do that? How can they get like a hands-on feel for the amazing work that you're doing? That's, what you can be thinking about with a donor cultivation event. 67% of people attending a donor cultivation event in a study by Penelope Burke over that span thousands of donors surveying, credited it as the reason why they made their gift. So, I loved getting to be with you. I'm going to dig in and answer all of your questions right now. If you've got one on your mind, you haven't typed it in, pretty please with sugar on top, do so. This is how you can, these are the workshops that I mentioned. Anne Marie is in the program as well as Cindy. I do a workshop every single month. Okay, so whenever this fits in, any tips on how to communicate to a CEO and board that major gifts are about relationships? I'm getting lots of pressure to get the money. Okay, so um that any tips? Okay, you could remind them here's a tip to do. Okay, at your next board meeting, you're going to say, hey, I want to talk to you about how major gifts, major gift fundraising is a lot like proposing marriage. And they're going to be like, what? Here are three ways it's a lot like proposing marriage. Number one, you're not asking a complete stranger to marry you. You kind of know them. Number two, you're not like, I have no idea how they're going to answer this question. You have some idea of how they're going to respond. And number three, it isn't how you phrase the question that determines their answer. It's how you cultivated the relationship. If you did a great job cultivating the relationship, it's going to be a yes. If you didn't, it's going to be a no, or I'm not ready yet. So that's one way, in a fun way, that you could help them understand that this is all about relationships. I hope that is helpful. Lori said, do you have a solid way for calculating a realistic growth strategy based on existing database? That's a really interesting question. And Bloomerang has some really great resources on retention and how much more money you can raise by boosting your retention rate. And that is definitely something that, like, obviously, if you're using Bloomerang, it'll tell you your retention rate. But I love that kind of math, and I love that math in your development plan, because I think it's important that people always set realistic goals. Like, we're going to set a realistic goal to boost our retention from 30% to 35% or 30% to 40%. Um, when you but your question is a little bit more general. And I'm not sure what kind of growth you're talking about, because there's growing your email list, there's growing your first time donors, there's improving your retention rate. Those are all like different goals. I would just always set realistic goals, whether it's a 5% increase or a 10% increase. I hope that helps, Lori. And yes, you can get the slides right here, my fundraising friend. I just literally put these up when we started, Hugh. So that's where you can get the slides. Okay, Anonymous asked, and I love knowing people's names, Anonymous, but you're very welcome, Hugh. Anonymous asked, how many can you manage when you have other responsibilities? This is a great question. A full-time major gift officer who does nothing other than managing a major gift portfolio can manage 150 donors, okay? 150 donors in their portfolio. So if you're the executive director, you, maybe you can, and you only have like 5 hours a week to dedicate to fundraising. Maybe you can manage 10. Maybe you can manage 20. You're going to basically take like a small chunk based on how much time you have. Um, Morgan asked, would you increase the pipeline? Wait. number if some of the meetings are via Zoom and not in person? Yes, that is a really great question. So that's kind of like a mid-level portfolio. Like in mid-level portfolios, you have a mid-level gift officer who's managing, could be managing 700 donors or 500 donors. They're doing Zoom meetings. They're doing a lot of like um stewardship via the mail. They're not meeting with those people face to face, so they can handle a larger portfolio. Okay. Um, my agency merged with another agency that had a friend society. Now they are used to giving year after year at the same level. Now I'm the chief development officer of the new organization, and I want to convert these friends to be a major donor, but they're used to year after year giving to the levels. I've tried to reach out and speak with them, and they feel they are doing what they have all along. Um, Okay, well, even though you want to convert these people to become a major donor, they may not want to be a major donor. Yes, Pat, these slides are available and I'm putting the link in the chat, so check out the chat. My anonymous friend, these people may not, they may, I gave the example earlier, they may not be willing. That's fine. They're going to continue giving at that level. Go out and find, there are donors who would give you more if you got to know them. It's not every donor, but there are donors. What is the best? Okay, anonymous. I wonder if anonymous is the same person or we just have a lot of anonymous people here. So I'm going to invite anonymous to change their Zoom thing so we know who they are. And I'm going to answer some other questions here. Why would people involved in an organization not give? Um, so I'm not talking about not giving. I just said that not everyone will upgrade their gift to a major gift. Some people may want to just stay a monthly donor. Um, Oscar said, going to re-ask my earlier question in a different way. Can you provide a few examples of successful organizations that you've worked with in the past? And I can stay on. We're like 1 minute away, but I will stay here and answer these questions as long as it's okay with Wendy. Um, Going to re-ask my earlier question. Can you provide a few examples of successful organizations you've worked with in the past? 100. Okay. He wants me to say how much. I mean, there there's no like magic formula, Oscar. I will tell you that if the majority of ideal, like here's some ideal things. Ideally, your fundraising revenue is like a stool or a chair. It's got a stool can have 3 legs, a chair can have 4 legs. That's good because if you lose one leg, you're not, maybe you're not going to fall down so much. Hopefully. But it the only it there is no right metric, okay? Because the truth is every organization is a little bit different. Organizations that yeah, every organization is a little bit different. The only one thing I can tell you is that if the majority of your funds come from just one foundation, that is something that the foundation can get in trouble for because that could be seen by the IRS as like like this doesn't look legit. These people are getting this tax break just to give to this one organization. What's going on here? Shannon said, I have a donor that expresses frustration because he feels the only way he can support the organization is by giving money, and he has fundraising ideas that we could benefit from. Specifically, he feels that we rely on major donors too much. I have a meeting with him in 2 weeks, and I assured him that the only purpose is to check in. Could I use some of the thought circle questions? Yes, absolutely. Or do you have other ideas that we could value him beyond his generous giving? What are his fundraising ideas, and how would he like to be involved in contributing to making those a reality? Are his fundraising ideas good ideas? Are they, I mean, like I'd be really curious. Maybe you want to tell me what his fundraising ideas are. This is someone, maybe he wants to serve on your development committee. And maybe if he feels like you rely on major donors too much, what are his thoughts for other major gift fundraising has the highest ROI, next only beaten by monthly giving. Maybe you want to say, you know what? This he could be a great donor to, and I would what I would do is engage him in a match and a match to upgrade your annual fund donors. I would see if he would engage in a match so that you could boost your individual donors giving, and then maybe once you've boosted their giving, you want to consider some of them potentially for major gifts. Maybe he wants to be your co-host in a donor thought circle. Maybe he wants to invite his friends to give a private tour and hear testimonial from someone you've helped. Those are just a few ideas. Okay. Jean said, I oversee 6 chapters for a national nonprofit that does not have a major gifts program. Chapter staff range from 1 to 4 people. What will be one step to get it started? Start with what you have and use what you've got. So I gave you the tool in this session of look at, how do you define a major gift? Look at who is giving that amount cumulative in 1 year and start cultivating those people. Have a visit with them. Learn about their interests. I'm so glad you shared that you're really prioritizing um, kids and accessibility, because we're about to do this new project and this feels like a great opportunity for you. Could I invite you to make a gift of $5,000 to help make this project a reality? Just sit down and visit with them, with the ones that you have. Pat says, I have a friend society. What do you think of them? I mean, it's hard for me to tell you what I think of them because all you said is you have a friend society. So I don't know. Um, I don't Tell me more about what your friend society is doing, and then I can give you I think that a princess is, if the question is, should I try to upgrade my friend society to make larger gifts? Sure, go for it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Adriana asked, is it possible to restart a major donor relationship? Oh, this is an interesting question, and I'm glad that you asked. You are so welcome, Carrie and Janet. Is it possible to restart a major donor relationship that started with the wrong foot, i.e., the wrong person asked for a big laundry list and didn't even try to build a relationship? The ask was made not with the actual major donor, but to the person who they have appointed to assess and filter the potential charities reaching out. Yes, I would go, my beautiful friend, eat crow, go and say, I am so, so sorry. This was the biggest mistake. This was one of our bigger mistakes in fundraising, and we're so humbled, and we will never make that mistake again. We will never have the wrong person ask for a big laundry list. We won't ever do that again. I mean, I made a mistake like it's kind of similar to this once. The good news is I never made that mistake again. The good news is after asking a donor for way too big a gift without enough cultivation, I became a cultivation superhero. So apologize and say, um, you know, I would just go in there and apologize and ask as many questions as you can about what they're interested in, what their priorities are, and what you can do to be one of their favorite charities. That's what I would do. Okay, Morgan asked, if you try 7 to 10 times to connect with a donor and they don't respond, but then give again, would you continue to try to cultivate and reach out? I would definitely still cultivate them. I would be telling them how much their gifts made a difference, and I would just gently be telling them I am always here. And I would love, nothing would give me more joy than to meet you in person or virtually or even a phone call just to thank you for what your kind and compassionate, generous heart has been able to achieve. And I would also consider, this is a planned giving strategy. Um, you could send them a letter and say, we recently received a very generous legacy gift from a donor, and we had no idea that she had named us in her estate. And my biggest regret is that I didn't get to thank her as personally as I wanted to. Um, this makes me think of you and just how much I would love to have a chance to meet with you and thank you in person and just tell you how much your kind, generous heart has done to change lives here at Sweaters for Penguins. Because these penguins are would freeze to death without you. So I'm doing my penguin thing. Okay. You guys are awesome. Diane, I love all your emojis. Yay. Love you. Love you. Okay. I'm gonna get to some of these uh okay. I was gonna answer a couple of these anonymous ones because I don't know if this is multiple anonymous people or just one anonymous people, but you can, if you want to cut me off, you can.
No, I so appreciate you going through all of these. Thank you. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
more than one anonymous person. I'm sure it's
Okay,
not
cool.
just.
Okay. Okay. So Anonymous One said, can you speak to best practices for starting a major gifts program for a national organization where in-person visits may be too costly? Do it virtually. I mean, this just do it virtually. Like have a Calendly link. When you're reaching out to these people, your goal, like I said earlier about your communications being a mirror, you want to make these people feel like the beautiful, kind, generous, thoughtful, loving human that they are. And that's going to be a big part of getting a visit. And maybe your subject line on the email is like quick favor, um, or something that they think this is going to take 5 seconds. Um, but yeah, uh, do virtual and do video email too, because that gives you a chance to bring your charisma and your love and your passion and sights and sounds of what you're doing and the amazing work you're doing in the field to the donor. Another anonymous donor asked, do you approach individual major gift donors the same as major gift level foundations? A little bit. So individual donors were finding out what they're personally passionate about, and we're going to care about what the people we care about, right? We can use that to deepen a relationship. Foundations, okay? If it's a family foundation, you can think about a family foundation as you would a major gift donor, doing cultivation with them, doing face-to-face visits with them, doing cultivation events with them. If they are, they may be a larger family foundation and they may have program officers and you can cultivate the program officers. But some foundations just want grant reports and they're not able or interested or willing to have this personal experience. They don't, you know, they just aren't. So that's not always possible. Okay. You're so welcome, Rebecca and Jennifer. Um, we have a loyal donor who gives annually, has increased their giving every year. They won't meet with us. They respond to emails consistently. I love that. I would send them video emails and just tell them, I mean, look, here's the thing. They're they are they're doing what you want them to do. Okay. They're doing what you want them to do. And if they just flat out don't, maybe they're shut in, maybe they're, agoraphobia. Maybe they have some phobia about going out. I don't know. I don't know. Um, but don't make them feel bad. I mean, you can invite them, you can say, oh, I only wanted to show you um how your gifts are making a difference in person. Be generous and kind about what works best for them. So they're and keep in mind they are doing what you want them to do, except for not visiting with you, but they're still doing what you want them to do. Okay, Kimberly asked, you mentioned getting the board um fundraising goal. Yes, I mentioned putting that in your budget. How do you ideas on how do you suggest this to a nonprofit board? you have the executive, you don't have to suggest it. Oh, I guess she means, how do I get my board to set a goal? So some boards have a give or get policy where they give a certain dollar amount or they get other people to give a certain dollar amount. And that can be a really significant part of improving the bottom line for the organization and bringing a little more like kind of rigor to the board. That's there are some negative impacts of that is you know is it if you have people, maybe you have people on your board who don't have the financial resources, but they bring important gifts in other ways through their volunteerism or through their connections. So not every organization does that, but that is one way to do it. Um, so Sandra's in San Antonio. She's been reaching out to major donors, and her people in San Antonio have historically not supported sport programs. Uh, I have received the no, we are out of the budget for this year. How would you reach back and cultivate them to possibly consider our organization? Okay, whenever I get a no, I probe the no. Was it the project? Was it the person? Did I ask the wrong person? Did the wrong person make the ask? Um, are they not interested in this project? Was it the amount? Like I always probe it. If it's a grant or something, I'm on the phone setting up a meeting to find out what did we do wrong? What could we do better? I would find that out. Just reach out to them. Just, um, so obviously this is okay, major donors. Um, I would, yeah, reach back out and say, you know, I'd love to learn more about your goals and your priorities and interests. Um, do you have any time to visit? Maybe you want to do it virtually. Anne Marie said, we have a give or get, but several aren't giving anything when they did commit. Who should have the conversation without them? A peer, a board member peer should have the conversation with them. A board member peer, the board chair, the board president, the board vice president, the development committee chair, another board member. It needs to be a peer. What are all the fields you should include in your donor portfolio? um the name, their interest, their gift last year, the goal for this year, the months, and needs to have the months, 12 months of the year, when you're going to do, and the months are filled with what activity, what kind of stewardship, a visit, a phone call, etc. And the ask, what the ask is. Maybe there's, you can have a budget ask that you put in your budget, and then you can have a goal ask that's higher. So, and those are in the slides. Um, okay. Should you invite, Taylor asked, okay, I'm going to answer a couple more. Taylor asked, should you invite people who know each other to the donor thought circle or people who don't know each other? I think it doesn't matter. I mean, I think that if they know each other and they like each other, sure, invite them. Um, it's fine. Um, and Anonymous asks, what is the best way to obtain birth dates of donors? Ask, ask, and you can do a survey. I will say this, if you want to obtain the birth date of a donor, you need to be prepared to do something on their birthday because several times in my career, I have been like very enthusiastically encouraged to share my birth date with a nonprofit or for profit or just a vendor. I mean, like we're talking enthusiasm, okay? And when someone makes a big deal about like, oh my God, we really want to know your birth date, like I'm gonna think that they're gonna send me a card, like or something, and then when I don't get anything, I'm kind of like, okay. Um, so if you do something like that, then you need to um send them a card. Oh, do you have a template to help you plan your donor ask or need? Yes, it was one I saw. The one you saw. I'll email it to you, Anne Marie. It was in the major gift workshop we covered last year. Uh, I think I answered Morgan's question. If you try 7, 10 times to connect and they don't respond, but give again. Yes, I did answer that one. And then Cindy, how do we find personal information other than surveys? I think I answered that too. You find out, um, you can do a Google search. You can, I mentioned iWave, I mentioned Donor Search, I mentioned Raise, which is a product of Gravity. You guys are so awesome. Thanks for letting me go over. I want to make sure everybody got their questions answered. Wendy, it's so lovely to get to be with you.
Thank
I'm sad I
you.
won't see you at AFP Toronto, but I don't blame you for being at home enjoying your baby girl.
Rachel, that was so much fun. That was so much information.
Yay.
I love your energy. I love your spirit. You're always so generous with your time and your knowledge. So thank you so much for joining
You're
us.
so welcome, gorgeous. You're so welcome.
It was great. Thank you so much. Everyone, keep an eye on your inbox tomorrow. I'm going to send all of the links that Rachel had in the chat. You'll get the slides, you'll get more resources. You can continue on your learning quest for major gifts. And just thank you again, Rachel. It's always so
You're
much fun to
welcome.
spend an hour and 20 minutes with you. And thank you for getting to
Yay.
everyone's questions.
Yay. Have a great day, gorgeous.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.